All right, so let me just give you a few examples. Maybe you struggle with some of these things. Just think about being lured, okay? Temptation. We can be trapped by it if we're not careful. So technology. Anybody have a screen in your household? TV, iPad, tablet, phone? Anybody have about 30 screens in your house? Sure seems like it sometimes. Technology is a great thing. Technology is a good thing. Technology is a very helpful thing. But technology, more and more people are, psychologists, counselors are addressing technology addiction. Technology addiction, where we just can't stop checking, can't stop looking. We neglect the kids, we neglect the spouse, we neglect the work. We just can't stop touching and clicking and watching and scrolling. And we have to know. But you know what? I told you about studies before that say the more you look at social media, the more depressed, lonely, and envious people are about their own lives. And so technology can be a trap. Technology can be a snare. Technology can be tempting for you if not used in the right context, and it can trap you in your life. Watch out for technological addiction. And maybe it's the person who watches, every sports game. It can seem more. It doesn't seem like an addiction, but your kids are home. This is all the time you get with them when you come home from work. Don't spend 3 hours watching the baseball game every single night, even if it is the Cleveland Indians, right? Just be with your kids. The screens are pulling us away from relationship. We really got to watch that. It can be a trap. It can be a snare. What about, should I do the Mary Poppins bag? What about control? Anybody ever want to have more control of things in your life? You want more power. You want more prestige. You want to achieve a certain thing. You want to climb the ladder of success. And if we're not careful, we'll step on whoever and harm whoever to get there. We want people in our lives to do what we want them to do. But they're not our slaves and we're not their masters. And we can, in life, we can try to, it can be a temptation, let's say that, to try and achieve power. Oh, how addictive power is. How many people have been taken down by the addiction of being in charge, controlling armies and people and countries, and then they get their head cut off, right? France or whatever, years back. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Just watch out for the temptation, for the snare, for the trap of power. What about gambling? I was going to buy, if you're thinking, where did Dad get that from? That's sinful. I was going to buy one of these this morning on the way here as an illustration, and I stood behind a guy at the Speedway counter, and he was scratching off a ticket, and he was getting money, and I said, would you mind if I had your trash? Like he's going to throw it away. He's like, sure, man, here you go. Hey. So here's my illustration for this morning. So, Dan doesn't buy lottery tickets. If you're thinking against me, okay. Gambling, I know some people do it, and it's not an addiction, but it's one of those things that can so easily become fun entertainment to an addiction where you're spending thousands of dollars, losing your house, losing your family. It happens, losing your job, time and time again. Don't be ensnared. Don't be trapped. Don't give in to the temptation of gambling and the lust for, I'm going to hit this next time. I'm going to get it this, maybe this next time I'm going to get it. It's right there. I see it. I almost got it. I'm going to get it. Just one more pull, just one more nickel, just one more whatever. One more scratch. I can do it. I'm almost there. I won $18, but next time I'm going to get $80. We had this guy, Rachel and I used to work at this convenience store in North Hill, near North Hills Church called, what was it called? Shortstop. I was going to say Speedway. Shortstop. With Rob. And there was this guy, Mac. Cowboy hat, mustache, handlebar mustache. You couldn't not recognize him. He came in every single day and spent hundreds of dollars and Rachel told me this morning, he wasn't even happy. Like, he was doing it, but he seemed really angry. Like, he was mad that he was, maybe in the back of his mind, he knew he was addicted and he couldn't stop. He told me one day, he said, I spend about $400 or $500 a week. If my wife ever found out, she would kill me. He told me that over at Shortstop. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just ring you up then. I'll get you surgery. Like, what do you say to that? I don't know. But he'd scratch it off and he'd win like $100, and we're like, hey, all right, good job. And he'd go, yeah, but I'm down $300 this week. I'm like, wow. The addiction, the trap of gambling is, if you've never gambled before, it's not that big a deal. But when you get into it, some people aren't tempted by it, but a lot of people fall prey. How about this? This says bourbon. I don't know. I borrowed it from my friend. Alcohol is a huge temptation for a lot of people. That's why I said I'm trying to hit a lot of addictions this morning, a lot of temptations. You may be able to consume alcohol without getting drunk, but for a lot of people, I'm just going to have one beer. Just going to have a couple beers. Just going to do a little bit, and then next thing you know, where'd my clothes go? I don't know. And how'd I get in this parking lot? I don't know. It sounds funny, but it's really not, because you're not going to share your stories with us, Allie. Okay, good. And drugs do this too, but when it inebriates your mind and your body, you do things you never thought you would do with people. You can't remember what you did with them or who they were. And it'll take you, the addiction, the lure, the trap of alcoholism is strong. And you've seen it. It destroys people's lives when they get into that addiction. That trap, that snare, when they don't say no, but they know they need to say no. How about something else? What do we got? Money, 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 money. So, if you see this, please don't come rushing up towards the cage afterwards. It will trap your arm, by the way, if you try. I think money speaks for itself. We know how much of a lure money is, don't we? Especially in our world. Do whatever it takes to get more. Just a little more. Just a little more. They've done studies that say, when will you be satisfied? How much would it take for you to make it work for you to be satisfied? People who made $30,000 say $50,000, they'll be happy. People who made $50,000 said $70,000, they'll be happy. People who made $70,000 says $100,000, they'll be happy. You'll never be fully happy or satisfied if you just keep chasing money. It is a real addiction. Obviously money is good. Obviously money is a tool that can be used to build hospitals and pay for food for your kids and to have fun and to keep your lights on. But we just got to watch out, because that money, Jesus says you can't serve two masters, right? It's either one or the other. You can't serve both God and money. And Paul writes that the love of money, not money, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Not money in itself, but what we do with it, where our heart is. If it gets inside our heart and it's just all about the money, we lose sight of people, we lose sight of reality, we lose sight of God, and it destroys lives when all people are chasing for is the almighty dollar. Right? You've been there, you've seen that. You hear about it in the news, Bernie Madoff and the Enron, and people do this and they steal all this money. And then if they get caught, not everybody gets caught, they end up in jail. And that is not where they thought they would be. Nikki gave me this morning. And it's a needle, as you can tell. And we'll just say all kinds of drug addiction, whether it's nicotine or caffeine or heroin or marijuana or I don't know. You can go down the list, cocaine. I know people personally who have died from drug addiction. I have buried them. I have done their funerals. It is real. It is terrible. It is horrible. It destroys their body. It destroys their life. It destroys their marriage. It destroys everything that they hold dear. And yet, those who are trapped by it keep going back and back and back again and again and again and again and again. And a lot of drugs, that first hit, that first time just a little bit, we'll just try one. In Dayton, I heard a while back, they were giving out free doses of heroin. Free. Because guess what? When you hook somebody with one dose, you got a lifetime customer. True story. So they give it out for free because they knew you'd be back. Now, I know a lot of us are probably not drug addicts, but there is also pain pills and medication that a lot of white collar, get addicted to. But heroin, whether you make $1 million a year or whatever, doctors can get addicted to this stuff. I mean, it's not just people in back alleys anymore. Okay, drug addiction is real, and it will probably sooner than some of these others completely just obliterate your life, destroy everything you could possibly think. Okay. What else we got? A couple things. Just an innocent little donut, right? We'll just take a little bite. Oh, it's from Friday. I don't know about that. It's a little hard. A lot of people are scared. COVID-19 is a real thing. You know what the number one killer in America is? Anybody want to guess? Heart disease? Caused by, a large part, many times, due to obesity. The obesity epidemic is everywhere in America. We just can't get enough food and sugary drinks, and I'm as much a part of it as you are. But it's just all day. You just, hey, I didn't cook supper. There's McDonald's. I just run through the drive-thru. Fat, sugar, butter. And it's so tempting. And I really wish that God would have made these taste like asparagus. You know what I mean? Like, can good things like Brussels sprouts, can those taste like donuts? Can we do that, God? But no, it doesn't work like that. It's hard. A lot of you know, you've been on diets before, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And gluttony is a sin, and yet that's one of the sins that the church doesn't like to talk about, because we say, we're going to skip that one, and we're going to have a potluck next week, and here's an Easter breakfast, and just fill her up, get more. Throw candy at the kids, for the lot of kids. And I know when I get it, and in moderation, I eat donuts with my kids. I take them to Tim Hortons on daddy dates. In moderation, sugary, fatty things aren't terrible for you, but gosh, those taste buds, they can get out of control quick, can't they? And our country, every other billboard is food, and it looks so good, and it tastes so good, and it's so cheap. Come on! That's the problem. You go to the store, all the cheap stuff is terrible for you, but people don't have a lot of money to spend, or don't want to spend a lot of money. They get that cheap stuff, and it just is literally killing our country. Obesity, epidemic, heart disease, and on and on and on. High blood pressure, and so many medical conditions. Not all of them, but so many come from what we shove into our mouths. And it can be such a trap, such a snare, such a temptation. Oh, maybe I'll just get a 6-pack of donuts and a 12-pack. I'll go and get a 12-pack. But I'll put it out for my coworkers. I'll put it out, and I'm only going to eat a half of it, right? And then we come back and we're like, I guess I'll eat the other half now. And then your coworker eats one and you're like, donuts. Did I bring those this morning? I guess I'll just have 2, 3, 4 more. It's hard. Food is so hard, but gluttony is a sin, and it is a real temptation that destroys our health, destroys our lives, destroys a lot of things. I'm just telling you right now. A lot of temptations out there, and if you're not identifying with any one of these, fill in your own blank. Last one I want to share with you is Playboy magazine. I borrowed this from Elaine. Just kidding. I'm joking. Throwing Elaine under the bus. This is a Focus on the Family magazine, okay, that I printed out a not very provocative cover for. What?
Read for the articles?
Yeah, for the articles. So here we're back to Joseph, right? We're back to sexual temptation. We've done a lot of these others. A lot of people struggle with a lot of things. Proverbs 5-7. If you want to read something today where, I'm not going to read it all right now, but just look at Proverbs 5-7. Talks about the adulteress. Talks about the mistress. Talks about how sexual sin leads us down the path to death. This is what Joseph is facing. This is what a lot of people are facing all day long, every day, just bombarding us, from billboards to radio to movies and video games and people that we work with flirting with us or wearing stuff or at school. I mean, it's everywhere. But it does kill us. Sexual sin, it destroys us emotionally. It destroys us spiritually. Destroys us maritally. Can get us fired or killed. We talked about that. And that's why I think Paul... There's many different verses in your notes, but I want to read one to you. Paul tells Timothy, run, Forrest, run from anything that stimulates youthful lusts. Instead, pursue righteous living, faithfulness, love, and peace. Enjoy the companionship of those who call on the Lord with pure hearts. Run. Paul says run. What did Joseph do? He'd been done run, right? He ran. I don't know, ran or run or whatever. Our spiritual enemy prowls around like a roaring lion waiting to devour people with everything that they are tempted with, everything and anything he will throw at us if it gets us to give into temptation. If it gets us to separate us from our true and living God. If it gets us to destroy the things in life that we hold dear, that is his sweet spot. That is what he loves to see happen. And one day, it's going to be too late. One day, we're going to be too far in. And the temptation is going to be, we're going to just give in and give in and give in. See if I can do this. I practiced this week. One day, we're going to be in too deep. We're going to be gone too far. And what's going to happen? Snap! The trap shuts. And everything that you and I hold dear could very well be destroyed. Gone. Obliterated.